Edutainment, a mix of entertainment and education from Learning Team B, due 4/22, 2013. Public speaking for the IT professional, Communications 218, Professor Sherry Green. To introduce Edutainment, the idea behind this is the audience skill level. It's every age group, and that's where we're going to start with our introduction. From ages 13 to adult, we'll cross. Each person is an addictive game they will almost have to play. This game gauges questions by age level entered in game so the questions are age specific. Shooting will be limited to the older audience members, so violence is kept to minimum for the younger players. This game has age verification protocols. During the installation, it requires an internet connection. Very important, it verifies the age through an offline calculator. Age verification protocols, again, are first and foremost what every game needs. It's going to have gore and violence. This way, we are keeping the violence from the younger kids. It's not censorship, it's sensibility. If the software is altered to try to get rid of the age verification protocol, the software is supposed to delete. The core age group to start out for the game is age 13 to 17. The specific roleplay will be designed for these particular game players. Some action missions will have some violence, not a lot, maybe a car chase or something like that. And violence will be limited due to age restriction. The younger players will be able to go on and complete several of the slower missions, breaking and entering, stuff like that. I'll explain why they're completing police investigations here in a bit. Teens will receive in-game awards for completing missions, cash, clothes, vehicles. The Xbox, and this leads me to my next point, both the Xbox 360 and the Sony PlayStation PS3 will use an achievement board as well. Now this will also be out on the PlayStation Vita also. Every handheld and every console will be able to play Harper City Police. Age group 18 plus, this is where every mission kicks in. This is the cool part of the game that adult's going to want to wrap their hands around. Everyone starts out in the same area or at the beginning of the game, which you're a rookie detective. We'll get into that later. Some will get to the higher levels and others quicker. This is a given. Each level unlocks new rankings, missions, and gives you new action. Also new achievements, more money, everything else you could think of to being a cop. When you unlock a mission, you get that equipment. Cross-genre, a new game concept. What is cross-genre? Simply put, you're taking several different genres of games and wrapping it all up into one. This is a cross between education and action. In parentheses, I'm going to put entertainment. This is why we call it edutainment. Complex questions and answers throughout the game help you to solve each one of the cases and become a better player for the game. This game is mixed with first-person shooting and role-playing scenarios. So, for instance, you role-play as a cop. You are catching a suspect, a bad guy. You are the good guy. Or you can be the bad guy and keep from getting caught. There's the unique clue to this game. But only as an adult can you be the bad guy. This process, this idea of combining the different game genres helps to promote motor skills and exercise thought processes. What I mean by that is, it helps to exercise your mind enough So you are critically thinking, how do I catch this criminal? Or if you are the criminal, how do I stay one step ahead of the police department? It's a very simple concept with the game that we want to employ imagination, critical thinking, creative thinking even, and also action and fun is the whole game. Keep in mind, an example of this game would be crossing Luminosity, which is brain training, with Call of Duty, which is a first-person shooter, and a role-playing game. You get to have to make every decision throughout the game, and it affects your character. It affects what your character does. Very important. This game also is going to promote, again, I mentioned critical thinking earlier. Critical and creative thinking skills. In other words, it has your mind constantly working. You're constantly keeping your mind as a well-oiled machine thinking, how do I catch the criminal? That is the easy part for the game. It's the best way to do it. The game itself, and I've played different games, where you're either shooting something or you're trying to think how to get yourself out of a situation. But never had I played a game with this concept where you're thinking critically and using your skills to get yourself out. You're developing your mind is what this game is supposed to do. Not to become a police officer, but it's to develop your mind and how to solve any situation you come across. Plus, the last part I wanted to touch on, some people we come across in society do not have one iota of an imagination. This game is going to help develop that. What that means is this. We are trying to help to develop people to become more imaginative. In different areas, more imagination can lead to better romance, to better gameplay if you're a gamer. Or you can your imagination can help you land that big promotion at work by helping you to put your mind to the problem you need to solve. This is why we want to develop people's imagination. This can help them. So the game objectives. Again, the game is age adjusted. We did that for a reason because we felt 13 to 17-year-olds see enough violence on TV and everything else. We wanted them to kind of stand back a little bit and be able to critically think their way through different situations as police officers would. This game is focused both on action and education. You're out there solving crimes, running down criminals, arresting them. But the education part is how you're catching the criminals. The education part is training that brain to think for eye coordination, memorization, our natural abilities we use as humans. You will be given a time limit also to solve each murder mystery. Now, this is an outer space environment. What's neat about that is, and the way I wrote this, is that you are on a colony called Harper City. And you are trying to ultimately put an end to galactic crime using strategy and your intellectual abilities with some action maneuvers. Kinda neat. The rules. You have to solve each crime to advance to another level. Meaning to say, you have to think your way through each crime to catch your criminal in order to be promoted to your next level. Each level is timed, and I'm going to iterate this throughout several parts. It's timed because there's only a certain amount of time before a criminal case goes cold. In the game, if a criminal case goes cold, and you will have a meter with that case, what happens next is it gets passed on to another player, and you get a bad evaluation for it. You lose points. Upon a mission fail, or if you get killed by a criminal, your player will be awarded a return or a do-over. I know in real life we don't have this, but this is a video game. And what you're going to use is your memorization to get your way through the game in order to catch this criminal and put them in jail. And one thing that's not listed as evidence collection is first and foremost one of your thought processes. What evidence do I need to collect in order to catch the criminal? There are time limits. Time limits are because cases go cold in a certain amount of time. Like I explained on the last slide, if you have a time limit, let's say, of solving a breaking and entering in 24 hours. You have 1 day to catch your criminal. If you do not catch him, it goes to the next person and you get a bad rating from your captain. However, if you do catch him within the time period, you've got him. This game will only be for the PS3, the Xbox 360, personal computer systems, and Macintoshes, and Apple Macintosh systems. The software cannot be reverse engineered or edited. What that means is if they break into it, it self-deletes. Very simple anti-piracy process we put in place. Also, because of the graphic content and gameplay restrictions, the gameplay on this game is age limited. You punch in a birth date at the installation. The computer sends the birth date to the verifier. The verifier turns back whether they're 18 or not. It counts down to the minute. Brain training. Now, I wanted to divulge on this a little bit. The brain training goes where you're going through your missions, developing your tasks, developing your thought processes with the game in order to catch your criminal. This is good because you're making your brain limber, so to speak. What it does is it's helping you to develop your creative and your critical thinking. You develop those two, you're going to catch criminals all the time. You're going to be able to think, what's he going to do next? You're going to get ahead of the criminal, and he's going to run right into you. The idea behind this is teaching you in real life to always think ahead or always be critical of your thoughts when you're trying to land a job or get a job. Each quest of the game ends with a thought evaluation. In other words, your captain comes in and he looks at how you caught the criminal. If you've done it cleanly, great. If you've done it sloppy, you're not going to get that high of a recommendation. Also, the quicker the quest is solved, the better the score you get. This game is also a first-person shooter, but this is only for ages 18 and up. This is used on some mission to help with your reflex skills, your hand-eye coordination, if you will. This motion is going to strengthen your reflexes, and it's also going to strengthen your hand muscles. You're going to have a better grip throughout the entire time you're trying to open a bottle, playing a video game. You'll be moving your thumb, and your thumbs are going to interact with what your eyes see. Your brain is sending messages from part of your brain that controls motor reflex to your thumbs, and it's telling you what button to press. That's how that operates. This is where the role-playing comes in, and this is the cool part of the game. Your role-playing is you have to have an imagination to be an art role player. Like Dungeons and Dragons, the other paper and book role plays, the other online role plays, you have to have an imagination in order to solve your quests, in order to catch the bad guy, in order to figure out how to slay the dragon. You have to use your imagination. That's what RPing does. Or role playing. I call it RPing for short. It's a term because my own personal belief, I am a gamer. However, it also helps to develop your critical thinking as the character in an alternate universe. In other words, you are using your imagination to take yourself out of your real life. what you're doing, what you have to do, what you need to get done. After you've completed all your daily real life tasks, you can go into your alternate world and be the cop or the villain you want to be. And you can use your imagination to do so. That's the great part about this. You also play as a detective trying to solve a series of homicides in Harper City. Now, as from 13 to 17, you won't get into the homicides. You'll get into the crime. And the characters now identified. You are rookie detective Lucius Croft. You are trying to make Lucius Croft the police commissioner is your goal, your clear-cut objective. That is the storyline. But you have to go through every case in order to do so. The type of game is a genre hybrid. Why I say that is this. We are combining a criminal drama, which is out of a book or a magazine. We're combining a first-person shooter, a strategy game, and we are applying critical thinking to the game. And also, we are going to wrap it around a massive multi-online role-playing game. The game itself will be totally free. How the game will be sponsored will be through different click ads in the game. When somebody clicks the ad, the game is paid for. Just that easy. The character settings. This is the cool part. You are set in Harper City Colony, up on the moon. It is summertime. And with Harper City, to explain it, they simulate summer. They simulate the sun, they simulate day and night. You're a rookie detective Lucius Croft. You're out getting a cup of coffee. You all of a sudden look over to your right and you see a guy gun down another guy in cold blood. You get a closer look, and it is the killer that everybody's been looking for. So like this says, just then you see the unthinkable. This is where the user or the gamer will take a good look and become Lucius Croft. Oh man, I want to catch this guy. The thing of it is, they're going to have to use their thought processes and everything else, and their skills that we learned in different classes throughout school on how to catch this guy. There's even math involved. There are different interactions throughout this particular type of game. One of them is a human versus computer, which is kind of bland. You're doing campaigns and quests. Real easy. The second one is your non-role-playing characters, or non-playing characters. They're called NPCs. That could be a person on the street you talk to, a merchant, a banker, one of the cops that you go see on a regular basis. Those all could be regular non-playing characters. Now, if you go into the multiplayer mode, you will be role-playing against other characters. What that means is simple. Very, very simple. You're going up against some of the best role players out there. You have to be on your game in order to catch them as a criminal. Or if you're a criminal, you have to be on top of your game in order not to get caught. It's your choice. And a lot of players love the multiplayer online environment simply because they can interact with their friends. They can create a private server with their friends and go in. And their friend can take all day to catch them. They can antagonize him. And believe me, there are a lot of people that do get lost in a game playing day after day after day on a game like this. This game is going to be on several different platforms. It's going to be on PC or Mac. Again, Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo, and various handheld devices and iPads. This game is going to be on your tablets, on your Android and other types of phones. You'll be able to track your achievement status. You'll be able to go up and catch the bad guy. Graphics might not be near as good, however, but this game is a cross-platform game. which is the first of its kind to be released not only to smartphone, but to an iPad. And on top of that, your game consoles and computers. The game's got various different genres so that everybody can play it anywhere, anytime. Now, there are some advantages and disadvantages to the game. The advantages are the portability and the fact that the game is user friendly. Simply put, you can play the game on any one spot. If you are online, you can log into the game and start playing. That's how easy it is. On the downside, the cost is going to be great because we're programming the game on so many different platforms. However, I do believe the game will pay for itself very quickly, because once people get a chance to actually sit and play it, they're going to enjoy it. And they will have gained IQ points because they have trained their brain to work with the game, and to work with several different games for that matter. To wrap this up, or conclude, this game does combine, it's a first-person shooter. It combines different genres, first-person shooting. It combines, for the strategy aspect, it combines role-playing. It also combines MMORPG as well. But the biggest part of the game is that it develops your critical thinking skills, so you can easily catch whatever you need to catch and put that person behind bars in the game. That is all. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.